3 months after the alien ultimatum, the galaxy had settled into a new reality that no one could have predicted when the crisis began. The ancient crystal halls of the alien chamber now hosted negotiations unlike any in galactic history. Humanity sat not as newcomers seeking acceptance, but as equals, dictating terms to former overlords. Ambassador Leav.s stood before the Reformed Council Assembly, representing not just Earth, but humanity's 43 revealed colony systems and the vast network of installations that had emerged from stealth following the crisis. The chamber itself had been restructured with human representatives, now holding permanent seats alongside the alien species who had once considered themselves humanity's superiors. Ambassador Leav announced the reading of the Galactic Cooperation Accord. This document would reshape relations between star systems for thousands of years to come. The Accord established the fundamental principle that no single species or alliance of species could dictate expansion limits, military capabilities, or territorial sovereignty to any other space-traveling civilization. High Counselor Vextar signed the Accord with clause that shook slightly. His once imposing presence had been diminished by the events of recent months. The psychological impact of discovering humanity's true capabilities had shattered the confidence that had maintained alien authority for ages. The Alien Council formally accepted these terms and recognized humanity as a co-equal power in galactic affairs. The irony was not lost on those who understood the full scope of what had happened, and control had revealed themselves to be the descendants of their ancestors' greatest enemy. They had returned with technology and capabilities that made alien forces appear primitive by comparison. Director Cho-hae-won transmitted from Mars Colony 1, where the massive shipyards that had built humanity's hidden fleet were now operating. Openly, they were constructing ships for the new galactic order. She reported that joint technology sharing programs were proceeding ahead of schedule. 17 alien species had requested access to human manufacturing techniques, while human scientists were beginning to understand some of the more complex alien technologies that were previously restricted. The transformation had been remarkable in its speed and scope. Within weeks of humanity's demonstration, the rigid hierarchical structure that had defined galactic civilization for millions of years had given way to cooperative partnerships based on mutual benefit rather than fear-based dominance. Admiral Kim Dae reviewed reports from across human space, watching as Earth's colonies openly expanded their operations. While maintaining the defensive capabilities that had made the recent victory possible, the interesting development was how quickly former alien member species adapted to the new reality. Fear of human capabilities had been replaced by eager cooperation. In most cases, Dr. Han Yujin, history. She said the joint expeditions to architect ruins were revealing technologies that even human awakened genetic memory had forgotten. With alien cooperation rather than concealment, they were uncovering innovations that could benefit all species. In the galaxy, the economic transformation had been equally dramatic. Human trade networks, no longer constrained by alien restrictions, had expanded throughout the galaxy, while maintaining partnerships with alien species who had chosen cooperation over confrontation. The civilizations that had attempted to isolate humanity economically found themselves isolated. Instead, as their populations demanded access to the technologies and opportunities that Earth offered, Commander Nam Kyung reported on the intelligence networks that continued operating throughout former alien space. Their mission had evolved from gathering information for potential conflict to monitoring compliance with the new cooperative agreements. Response humanity had demonstrated 3 months ago. The most significant change, however, was psychological. The revelation that humanity represented the return of the galaxy. The comfortable assumption of alien superiority had been replaced by the humbling recognition that they had been living in a galaxy shaped by forces they had never understood. Governor Yang Soo-jin of New Seoul Colony provided updates on the expansion programs that were now proceeding without interference. She said they had received colonization requests from 47 systems that were previously off-limits under alien restrictions. The benefits of human development techniques. Ambassador Leav smiled as she reviewed the transformation that had taken place across known space. The galaxy that had once been ruled by fear and rigid hierarchy was becoming something new, a place where different species could work together. and learn from each other, rather than fighting for dominance over one another. The alien species that had once considered themselves the masters of the galaxy were discovering that cooperation with humanity brought benefits they had never imagined. Human innovation and adaptability, combined with alien knowledge and experience, was creating technological and social advances that no single species could have achieved alone. Admiral Kim reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. From the moment aliens delivered their ultimatum to the current era of cooperation, the transformation had been guided by humanity's awakening understanding of their true heritage. The genetic memory of the architects had not just provided technology and tactical knowledge, but wisdom about how to build lasting peace rather than temporary dominance. The new galactic order was not based on one species ruling over others, but on the recognition that diversity and cooperation made everyone stronger. Human colonies continued to expand, but now they did so as partners with alien civilizations rather than despite their opposition. Trade flowed freely between systems. We're uncovering secrets of the universe that had been hidden for millions of years. Diplomatic exchanges were building understanding between species that had once viewed each other with suspicion and fear. Dr. Han's archaeological teams working alongside alien researchers were discovering that the architects had not been conquerors seeking to dominate the galaxy. They had been explorers and innovators seeking to understand and preserve the diversity of life among the stars. Their conflict with the ancestors of the current alien species had been a tragic misunderstanding that led to unnecessary destruction. The new accord included provisions to ensure such misunderstandings could never happen again. Communication. Protocols were established to prevent conflicts before they began. Economic partnerships were structured to make war unprofitable for all parties. Most importantly, a shared commitment to exploration and discovery gave all species common goals to work toward together. As Ambassador Lee, humanity had not conquered the galaxy through force, but had transformed it through the power of revealed truth and demonstrated capability. The descendants of the architects had returned not as conquerors, but as builders of a better future for all species among the stars. The galaxy would never again be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped to achieve. High Counselor Vextar paced the length of the alien chamber, his massive claws leaving scratch marks in the crystal floor as panic and blame filled the air around him. The emergency meeting had been called after reports of human demonstrations reached every corner of alien space, revealing the terrible scope of their mistake. Regarding humanity's true capabilities, Vextar's voice carried the dangerous edge of barely controlled fury as he demanded an explanation. He wanted to know how. An entire species had been operating undetected throughout their territory for decades. He wanted to know how their intelligence services failed to identify technology that made their most advanced systems appear primitive by comparison. Counselor Zephyric coiled nervously in his seat, his snake-like form showing the fear that was spreading through the alien leadership. He said their agents reported exactly what they observed. Human colonies appeared to be standard farming and mining settlements. Their visible military consisted of conventional ships using technology consistent with a developing space-traveling civilization. Vextar roared that what they observed was a carefully constructed deception. His claws slammed against the table, hard enough to crack the ancient crystal. While they were congratulating themselves on intimidating newcomers, humans were positioning fleets throughout their space and gathering intelligence on their most classified installations. Chief Intelligence, Director Morthok, provided the most disturbing update yet. His shadowy species specialized in espionage, and even he was shaken by what they had discovered. He said their analysis of the demonstration revealed that human agents had infiltrated virtually every level of alien society. The merchants who improved their trade efficiency, the technicians who enhanced their manufacturing processes, the cultural exchange participants who studied their histories, all of them were gathering intelligence for Earth. The chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. For 50 years, the aliens had believed they were observing humanity's development while secretly preparing to limit their expansion when necessary. Instead, humanity had been studying them, learning their weaknesses and positioning assets for exactly this confrontation. Morthok continued saying, preliminary analysis of human ship capabilities suggested technology at least centuries beyond their current understanding. Human stealth systems made their detection networks useless. Their power generation exceeded theoretical maximums, and their coordination abilities indicated a communication network that operated faster than their best quantum systems. Counselor Tessara, representing one of the more militant species, attempted to maintain the aggressive stance that had led to this disaster. She said, regardless of human capabilities, they could not allow a single species to dictate terms to the established galactic order. Their combined fleets still outnumbered human-known ships. The absurdity of the statement caused bitter laughter from several alien members. Counselor Vexnal, whose species specialized in tactical analysis, provided the devastating reality check. He said human-known ships were deliberately revealed to deceive them about their true capabilities. Intelligence now suggested their actual fleet might outnumber alien combined forces by a significant margin, and every one of their ships incorporated technology aliens could not currently counter. Meanwhile, across alien space, the economic consequences of humanity's withdrawal were beginning to spread through civilian populations. On the industrial world of Kethmora factories that had relied on human-improved manufacturing processes ground to a halt as critical components failed without Earth's technical support. On the trade hub of Nexus Prime, shortages of human goods created supply chain disruptions that affected billions of alien civilians. Governor Park Soo-young of Aurora Colony received reports from Earth's intelligence network that painted a picture of growing chaos throughout alien territory. She reported to Admiral Kim that their agents indicated increasing civil unrest on 12 alien worlds as populations began experiencing the economic impact of the trade disruption. Public opinion was shifting rapidly against the governments that initiated this confrontation. Admiral Kim studied the reports with satisfaction. Humanity's economic integration with alien civilization had been deliberately designed to create exactly this leverage. Phase 3 was proceeding as planned. The alien leadership may have initiated this confrontation, but their civilian populations were beginning to understand the cost of threatening Earth. The psychological warfare component of humanity's response was proving equally effective. Dr. Han Yujin's archaeological evidence was being spread through human intelligence networks, revealing to alien populations that their governments had been hiding the truth about humanity's origins for 50 years. The revelation that humans were the descendants of the legendary architects, the species that had once challenged alien dominance, was causing fundamental shifts in how alien civilizations viewed the current crisis. Commander Nam Kyung reported that they were receiving formal communication requests from 7 alien species seeking separate negotiations. 3 of them were offering to provide intelligence on alien military positions in exchange for continued trade relationships. Admiral Kim nodded with grim satisfaction. The alliance that took thousands of years to build was breaking apart in a matter of days. Fear of humanity's capabilities, economic dependence on human trade, and the revelation of human true origins were destroying the unity aliens needed to maintain their ultimatum. Back in the alien chamber, the debate had turned into blame and desperate attempts to salvage a catastrophic situation. High Counselor Vextar found himself facing the collapse of everything the aliens had built over millions of years of galactic dominance. Chief Military Strategist Corvin announced they had 3 options. First, they could attempt military action against human space despite their demonstrated technological superiority. Second, they could withdraw their ultimatum and attempt to negotiate a face-saving compromise. Third, they could acknowledge that humanity had become the dominant power in this region of the galaxy and attempt to negotiate terms for peaceful coexistence. The silence that followed was broken by Counselor Zephric's bitter observation. He said they were being asked to choose between suicide, humiliation, and surrender. How had they arrived at this position when dealing with a species that made first contact only 50 years ago? A new voice came from the chambers. Communication system. They turned in shock to see Ambassador Lee Sora's image appearing in the center of their chamber. Her presence was unauthorized but apparently unstoppable given humanity's demonstrated technological advantages. Vextar growled that she was not invited to this session. Ambassador Lee replied with calm dignity that, given they had issued an ultimatum demanding human surrender, normal diplomatic protocols seemed somewhat irrelevant. She was there to deliver Earth's formal response to their demands. The chamber fell, silent as the aliens prepared to hear whether humanity would offer terms for peace or demonstrate why their ancestors had once been the galaxy's most feared species. Ambassador Lee's expression hardened with ancestral determination. She said Earth's response was simple. They rejected the ultimatum completely. They would not reduce their fleet's surrender, their colonies, or accept oversight from species who had proven themselves incapable of coexisting with equals. She paused, meeting the eyes of each alien member. However, they were prepared to offer terms for peaceful coexistence, provided the aliens understood that the age of alien dominance in this galaxy had ended. The descendants of the architects had returned, and the galaxy would never be the same again. Juan sits in the big chair that looks too small for her, even though she is not very tall. The chair is made of some kind of crystal that glows with soft blue light. The whole room around her is huge and makes her feel like a tiny bug. The walls go up so high she cannot see the top, and everything is made of the same glowing crystal around the room. There are 12 other chairs, but these chairs are much bigger than hers. Each chair holds a different kind of alien being. Some are tall and thin like walking sticks, some are wide and round like boulders, some have too many arms, and some have no arms at all. But they all have one thing the same. They all look at Giwan like she does not belong. Here for 3 days now, Giwan has been sitting in this chair, listening to these alien beings talk about humans. They talk about her people like they are not even in the room. They use words like specimens and subjects and primitive creatures. Giwan keeps her face calm, but inside she feels angry. The snake-like alien called Vexstar is talking now. His body is long and covered in scales that change colors when he gets excited. Right now, his scales are dark red, which means he is angry or upset. His voice makes a hissing sound when he talks. These humans are nothing but warmongers, he says. His forked tongue flicks out when he speaks. They fight each other on their own planet. They cannot even make peace with their own kind. How can we trust them to keep peace in our galaxy? The other aliens make sounds of agreement. A big bug-like creature called Kikmo clicks his mouth parts together. His eyes are made of thousands of tiny pieces that all move together like a puzzle. The clicking sound he makes is very loud. In the crystal room I have studied their history, says Kikmo. They have been fighting wars for thousands of their years. They use weapons that destroy entire cities. They poison their own air and water. They are a danger to all civilized Bionjduan wants to speak, but she knows it will not help. She has tried to explain things before, but they do not listen. They have already made up their minds about humans. They think humans are bad, and nothing she says will change. The Tay-Rock-like alien called Zephyra speaks next. Her body looks like it is made of gray stones, stuck together. When she talks, her voice sounds like rocks falling down a mountain. Look at their technology, she says. It is so basic compared to ours. They still use chemical rockets to travel in space. They have not even learned to bend space or travel faster than light. They are like children playing with dangerous toys. Alien with many tentacles called Thekra waves his arms around. His tentacles are purple and covered in what looks like slime. When he moves, they make wet slapping sounds against his chair. Their social structure is chaos, he says. They have hundreds of different governments on one small planet. They cannot agree on anything. They fight over resources. They fight over ideas. They fight over land. They are not ready to join civilized. Sosita Juan has heard all of this before. Many times she has tried to explain that humans are different now, that they have learned to work together better, that they have stopped most of the big wars, but the aliens do not want to hear. Ichi looks around the room at all the alien faces. Some have eyes, some have other things that might be eyes. All of them are looking at her with the same expression. They think she is wasting their time. They think humans are not good enough to join their group. The Galactic Council has been around for 1,000 years. 12 different alien species work together to control most of the galaxy. They decide which planets can trade with each other. They decide which species can travel between stars. They decide who gets to use the best technology. For a long time, humans did not even know the Council existed. Earth was too far away, and human technology was not good enough to reach Council space. But 5 years ago, humans finally built ships that could travel far enough to make contact. First, the Council was curious about humans. They sent some of their people to Earth to study human society. They watched humans for 2 years. Then they decided humans could apply to join the Council if they wanted. Tojuan was chosen to be Earth's ambassador. She spent 1 year learning about Council, laws, and customs. She learned to speak the Council's common language. She studied the history of all 12 Council species. She thought she was ready when she first arrived at the Council station 3 days ago. She was excited. She thought this was the beginning of a new time for humanity. She thought humans would finally be able to join the galactic community and learn from older, wiser species, but the meetings have been terrible. The Council members do not treat her like an equal. They treat her like a student who has failed a test. They ask her questions, but they do not listen to her answers. They already know what they think about humans. The worst part is how they talk about Earth like it is some kind of zoo. They want to know about human mating habits and human food and human entertainment like humans are animals. They are studying. They do not ask about human science or human art or human philosophy. Tries to stay calm and polite. She knows that getting angry will not help anything, but it is getting harder and harder to sit still and listen to these aliens insult her. People Vexter is talking again now. His scales have turned bright yellow, which means he is feeling proud of himself. I propose we reject the human application. He says they are not ready for membership in our council. Perhaps in another 1,000 years they will have evolved enough to be worth considering. The other aliens make more sounds of agreement. Kikmol clicks his mouth parts faster. Zephra-s rocky body glows brighter. Thekra-s tentacles wave around more quickly, but then something happens. Jiwan's personal communicator makes a soft beeping sound. She looks down at the small device and sees a message from Earth. The message is very short, but it makes her smile. She reads the message again to make sure she understands it correctly. Then she looks up at all the alien faces staring at her. Her smile gets bigger. She stands up slowly. The crystal chair makes a scraping sound against the floor. The sound is very loud in the quiet room. All the aliens stop talking. Look at Earth. Thank you for your time, she says. Her voice is calm and clear. I have enjoyed learning about your council. But humanity withdraws its application. We are no longer interested in membership. The room becomes completely silent. 12 alien faces stare at her like she has just said something impossible. Giwan gathers up her papers and puts them in her bag. She moves slowly and carefully, like she has all the time in the world. Is the first one to speak. His clicking sounds confused. An angry withdraw, he says. You cannot withdraw. We have not finished deciding about your application. Jiwan stops near the door and turns back to look at him. Actually, we can, she says, and we have. She holds up her communicator. I have just sent humanity's official withdrawal to all council databases. We are no longer applying for membership. The crystal room explodes with noise. All 12 aliens start talking at once. They make clicking sounds and hissing sounds and rumbling sounds and wet slapping sounds. The noise is so loud it hurts Jiwan's ears, but she just keeps smiling as she walks toward the door. The noise in the crystal room is so loud that Giwan can feel it in her bones. All 12 aliens are making sounds at the same time, and none of them sound happy. Vexter-s scales are flashing between red and yellow, so fast they look like warning lights. Kikmo-s clicking is so fast it sounds like a machine gun. Zephra-s rocky body is glowing so bright it hurts to look at her. Giwan stands by the door and waits for them to calm down. She is not in a hurry. She has waited 3 days to say what she wanted to say. Now she can wait a few more minutes for them to stop panicking. Finally, Kikmo raises one of his long arms and the room gets a little quieter. The big bug alien's compound eyes are moving in all directions, like he is trying to look at everything at once. His voice clicks and buzzes when he talks. This is impossible, he says. No species has ever withdrawn their application before. Species beg us to let them join our council. They offer us gifts and money and special deals. They do not just walk away. Jiwan nods, like she agrees with him. You are right, she says. This has never happened before. But then again, you have never treated an applicant species like you have treated humanities. She takes out her communicator again and touches the screen. A big hologram appears in the middle of the room. The hologram shows a map of space with lots of colored lines connecting different star systems. While you have been spending 3 days telling us why we are not good enough, Giwan says humanity has been busy. We have not been sitting around waiting for your approval. The aliens all lean forward to look at the hologram better. The colored lines on the map show trade routes and communication channels and defense agreements. All of the lines connect to human space, but none of them go through Council territory. Vexter-s scales turn completely white, which means he is scared or shocked. His forked tongue flicks out and tastes the air like he is trying to figure out if this is real. What is this? He hisses. What are these connections? Joanne touches her communicator again, and the hologram changes. Now it shows details about each connection. The first one lights up in bright blue. This is our trade agreement with the Centauri. Independent worlds, she says, they have been isolated from galactic trade for 50 years because your council demands too much tribute from anyone who wants to trade through your space. But humans do not demand tribute. We offer fair deals, the aliens. Look at each other with expressions that might be surprise or fear or anger. It is hard to tell with alien faces, but their body language shows they are up Sithikra waves, his tentacles around, and makes wet slapping sounds that is impossible. He says the Centauri worlds hate outsiders. They have refused to talk to anyone for decades. How could primitive humans succeed where we Joanne's smile gets bigger. Maybe they do not hate outsiders, she says. Maybe they just hate being treated like they are less important than you. The humans who went to Centauri space did not go as masters looking for servants. They went as equals looking for friends. She touches the communicator again, and another line lights up. This one is green. This is our mutual defense pact with the vegan free traders, she says. If anyone attacks human space, the vegans will help defend us. If anyone attacks vegan space, humans will help defend them. It is a partnership between equal Zephyras, rocky body dims, and brightens. Like a fire that is going out, the vegan traders, her voice sounds like boulders rolling down a hill. They trust no one. They have been independent for 300 years. Ewan nods again. You are right. They do not trust easily, but they trust people who keep their promises. When humans said we wanted to be partners, we meant it. When we said we would help defend their space, we put our ships where our words were. More lines light up on the hologram, red ones and yellow ones and purple ones. Each line represents a different kind of agreement: trade deals, defense pacts, science sharing, cultural exchange, tourism agreements, technology transfers. 17 different star systems, Joanne says. All of them now connected to human space, all of them now part of a growing network of cooperation and friendship, none of them controlled by the Galactic Council. The aliens are completely quiet now, which is the first time that has happened since Joanne arrived 3 days ago. They are all staring at the hologram like it shows something impossible. Kekel finally breaks the silence. His clicking sounds small and confused. How he says, "How did you do this in just 3 days?" Joanne laughs, and the sound echoes around the crystal room. 3 days, she says. We have been working on this for 2 years while your council was studying us and deciding if we were worthy. We were out there meeting our neighbors and making friends. She touches the communicator again, and the hologram shows a timeline going back 2 years. Red dots appear on the map, showing where human diplomats have been working. Each dot has a date and a descript. First contact with Centauri independent worlds. 2 years ago, Joanne says, first meeting with vegan free traders. 20 months ago, first cultural exchange with the asteroid belt miners. 18 months ago. Every month for 2 years, humans have been building relationships. The timeline shows dozens of meetings and negotiations, human diplomats traveling to strange worlds, learning alien languages and customs, solving problems and settling disputes, building trust, one conversation at a time. Guan says, while you were arguing about whether humans deserve to join your council, humans were proving that we do not need your council. We were building our own network, a network based on respect instead of fear, partnership instead of dominance. Vector.s scales are now so pale they are almost transparent. But how did you know we would reject your application? His voice is barely a whisper. We did not know, Joanne says, but we prepared for the possibility. We hoped you would welcome us as equals, but we also knew you might not, so we made sure we had other options. She points to the hologram again. Look at what we have built, she says. Every species in this network has something to offer. Every species has something to gain. Nobody is in charge of everybody else. Nobody demands tribute or obedience. We work together because we want to, not because we have. Tothakra's tentacles are moving very slowly now, like he is underwater. What about us, he says. What about the council? Joanne looks at each of the 12 aliens in turn. What about you, she says. You spent 3 days explaining why humans are not good enough for your council. Well, now humans have decided your council is not good enough for Usta. Silence that follows is so complete that Joanne can hear the humming of the crystal walls. The aliens look like they have been hit by lightning. Cannot believe what they are hearing. For 1,000 years, the Galactic Council has been the most powerful organization in the galaxy. Species have begged to join them, fought wars to impress them, offered everything they had just for a chance at Membership now, for the first time in their history, someone is walking away. Someone has built something better, and that someone is the species they thought was too primitive to match. Juan puts her communicator away and picks up her bag. "I will be leaving your station in 1 hour," she says. "If any of you want to discuss joining the Human Alliance, you know how to contact Ush." She walks toward the door, but stops before she reaches it. "Oh, and one more thing," she says, "that network you see on the hologram, it is not finished. We are just getting started." The door closes behind her, with a soft sound that seems very loud in the silent crystal room. The crystal door closes behind Jiwan with a soft whisper sound, but inside the council chamber, nobody moves for a long time. The 12 aliens sit frozen in their chairs like statues. The hologram still floats in the middle of the room, showing the network of human alliances. The colored lines seem to pulse with life, while the council members look more dead than Leav.s is the first one to move. His pale scales start to get some color back, but now they are a sickly green color. That means he feels sick to his stomach. His long body coils and uncoils nervously in his chair. "She is lying," he hisses. "There is no way humans could have done all this. They are too primitive, too stupid, too violent. The other species would never trust them." But even as he says the words, his voice does not sound sure. Kikmol's compound eyes are already moving fast as he accesses data streams from all over the galaxy. His clicking sounds worried and confused. "I am checking the records," he says, "the trade manifests, the shipping logs, the communication records, everything the humans showed." "Usta?" Big insect alien's eyes flash different colors as information pours into his brain. His clicking gets faster and faster until it sounds like rain on a metal roof. Then suddenly he stops clicking. "Completely, it is all real," he whispers. "The trade agreements are filed in 17 different planetary governments. The defense pacts have been registered with the Independent Systems Alliance. The cultural exchanges are happening right now. There are human ships moving cargo through systems we have not been able to access for decades." HFY's rocky body starts glowing brighter with each word Kikmal speaks. The glow is not the warm light of happiness. It is the harsh light of panic and fear. "How is this possible?" she rumbles. Her voice sounds like an earthquake. "How did they do what we could not?" Dothakra's tentacles start moving again, but very slowly, like he is moving through thick mud. He reaches for his data console and starts pulling up information. His wet slapping sounds are quiet, and Saudi have been studying the reports, he says. Human negotiators have been active on 47 different worlds in the past 2 years. They have solved disputes that have lasted for centuries. They have opened trade routes that have been closed for decades. They have made friends with species that hate everyone. The hologram changes as Thekra feeds new information into it. Now it shows not just the network of human alliances, but also the old network of council connections. The difference is shocking. The council network looks like a wheel with the council at the center and spokes going out to different worlds, but most of the spokes are thin and weak. Many worlds are connected to the council, but not to each other. The council controls everything. The human network looks completely different. It looks like a spiderweb with connections going everywhere. Every world is connected to several other worlds, not just to humans. The connections are thick and strong, showing lots of trade and communication. "Look at this," Thekra says. His tentacles point to different parts of the hologram. The humans did not try to control anyone. They helped everyone connect to everyone else. They made themselves useful instead of making themselves the boss. Vextar's scales are now flashing between green and yellow so fast they look like a warning signal. "But why?" he hisses. "Why would they help other species connect to each other instead of keeping control for themselves?" "That is exactly the point," says a new voice. The aliens all turn to look at the chamber entrance. A small robot has entered the room. It is one of the council's information gathering units. Its mechanical voice sounds calm and logical. "I have been analyzing human diplomatic methods." The robot says humans do not seek to control other species. They seek to help other species achieve their own goals. They offer partnership instead of demanding submission. The robot projects its own hologram showing examples of human diplomacy. On one world, humans helped to rival cities share water resources. On another world, humans taught farmers new growing techniques that increased food production. On a third world, humans helped miners and traders resolve a century-old dispute over shipping rights. In every case, the robot continues, humans asked what the other species needed, then helped them get it. They did not ask for payment or tribute. They did not demand obedience, they built relationships based on mutual benefits. Leav.s. Clicking sounds like broken machinery, but that makes no sense, he says. Why would they help others without getting something in return? The robot's mechanical head turns toward the insect alien. They did get something in return. The robot says they got trust, they got friendship, they got willing partners instead of reluctant subjects. And now they have something the council has never had. What asks Zephyra? Her rocky body has stopped glowing completely. A network that works without them, the robot says. Look at the hologram. The human alliance can function perfectly well even if humans disappeared tomorrow. Every species in the network is connected to every other species. They all have direct relationships with each other. The council members look at their own network on the hologram. If the council disappeared tomorrow, their network would fall apart. Most of their member species have no direct relationships with each other. Everything goes through the council. We made ourselves necessary by making everyone else dependent, says Thekra. His tentacles droop sadly. The humans made themselves valuable by making everyone else stronger. The robot nods. Its mechanical head correct. Human diplomatic philosophy is based on the idea that strong independent partners make better allies than weak dependent subjects. They have built a network of equals, while the council has built a network of servants. Vextar's scales turn dark red, which means he is getting angry again. But we are stronger, he hisses. We have better technology, more resources, bigger fleets. A robot accesses more data and projects. New information. The human alliance now controls 37% of known rare element deposits. The robot says they have access to 42% of advanced manufacturing facilities. They have defensive agreements covering 51% of inhabited systems. The numbers hit the council members like physical blows. Their network suddenly looks small and fragile compared to what humans have built. And they did it all in 2 years, whispers Kikumal. Actually, the robot corrects, they did most of it. In the last 6 months, the pace of alliance building has been accelerating. The more species that join the network, the faster other species want to join. Zephyra's voice sounds hollow and empty, like wind through a cave. Why did we not see this coming? Because you were not looking for it, says the robot. You were focused on judging whether humans were worthy of joining your system. You did not consider that they might be building their own system. A better system. The hologram shows the latest data. 17 star systems have formally joined the human alliance. In just the past week, 3 more have submitted applications. 6 council member species have begun unofficial diplomatic contact with human representative. Dirk makes it sound like water being sucked down a drain. We are losing them, he says. Our own members are starting to look elsewhere. The robot's final projection shows the most frightening possibility of all. If current trends continue, the human alliance will be larger than the council within 1 year, more economically powerful within 2 years, more militarily significant. Within 3 years, the council that has ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years is watching their empire crumble, and it is being replaced by the species they thought was too primitive to matter. For the first time in their long history, the council members realize they might not be the most important organization in the galaxy. And if they are not the most important, they might not be important at all. Red lights start flashing all around the crystal chamber. Emergency alarms make loud whooping sounds that echo off the glowing walls. The council station has not seen an emergency like this in 300 years. The last time the alarms sounded like this was when the Void Plague threatened to destroy half the galaxy. But this emergency is different. This time, the threat is not some disease or natural disaster. This time, the threat is political and economic, and it might be even more dangerous. Body moves in worried circles on the crystal floor. His scales keep changing colors so fast, they look like a rainbow having a suit on. Robot, show me what happens if the human trade network keeps growing. Show me what happens if they cut us out completely. The robot's mechanical arms move quickly as it processes data. Holographic charts and graphs fill the air around the council chamber. The numbers they show make the aliens feel sick. Trade revenue down 30% in 1 year, says the robot. 50% in 2 years, 70% in 3 years. If current trends continue, several council worlds would face economic intelligence reports from across the galaxy. It is not just trade, he buzzes. They are sharing technology. Look at these reports. Human engineers are helping the Centauri worlds upgrade their power systems. Human doctors are teaching vegan medics new healing techniques. Human scientists are working with asteroid belt researchers on mining improvements. Zephyra.s. Rocky body starts glowing again, but this time the light is angry and desperate. We have kept strict control over technology sharing for centuries, she rumbles. That is how we maintain our advantage. How we keep other species dependent on HFY's tentacles. Move over his data console like he is playing some complicated musical instrument. Information flows across multiple screens as he digs deeper into intelligence reports. Humans are not just sharing their own technology, he says, with growing horror. They are helping species share technology with each other. The Centauri power systems are being installed on vegan ships. The asteroid belt mining techniques are being used on 17 different worlds. The robot adds more data to the holographic. Patent applications are 8 times higher. We are being left behind, whispers Keekmul, his clicking sounds broken and defeated, but the technology sharing is not the worst part. The robot brings up new displays, showing something that makes all the council members freeze. Military cooperation reports the robot-human alliance members are sharing defensive technologies, early warning systems, shield generators, emergency response protocols, coordinated fleet exercise. Stops moving completely. His scales turn completely black, which is the color of absolute fear. Military alliance, he whispers. They are building a military alliance. The holographic display shows the truth. The human network is not just about trade and friendship, it is about mutual defense. Every species in the alliance has agreed to help defend every other species attack. One, and you fight them. All 17 star systems, says Thekra, his tentacles are trembling. 43 inhabited worlds, over 200 billion people united under mutual defense. Agraman Safaras glow, flickers like a candle in the wind. Our own military advantage is built on dividing potential enemies, she says, keeping them separate and weak, but the humans have united them. The robot shows more military data. Combined fleet strength of human alliance now equals 60% of council. 3 more systems are negotiating to join the alliance. 2 council member species have begun informal military cooperation discussions with human representatives. The emergency alarms are still whooping, but now they sound like funeral music. The council members sit in their chairs like they are attending their own burial. Keekmul tries to find some hope in the data. Maybe we can negotiate with them, he clicks. Maybe we can offer them something they want. The robot accesses diplomatic files. Recent council attempts to contact human alliance leadership have been unsuccessful. Human diplomatic channels are directing all inquiries through their allied species. Former council client states are now requiring council diplomatic contact to go through human representatives. We cannot even talk to them directly, says Thekra. They have locked us out of the diplomatic process. Leav.s scales shift to deep purple, which means he is thinking about violence. What about military pressure, he hisses. We still have the largest single fleet in known space. We could force them to negotiate the robot immediately. Projects new data showing why that would be a terrible idea. Military action against any human alliance member would trigger mutual defense agreements. Alliance members have dispersed command structures that make them difficult to defeat with traditional tactics. Council intelligence on alliance military capabilities is severely limited due to their open information sharing policies. Translation, says Zephyra, her voice sounding like rocks grinding together. We would be fighting blind against an enemy. Also, military action would likely drive remaining neutral systems into the human alliance rather than toward the council. Historical analysis shows that species prefer to join defensive alliances rather than submit to aggressive ones. So we cannot fight them and we cannot negotiate with them, says Keekmul. What can we do? The robot processes this question for several seconds before responding. Options are limited. Current trajectory suggests council influence will continue to decline while human alliance grows stronger. Recommended course of action is immediate diplomatic outreach to human leadership, offering significant concessions. What kind of concessions, asks. Sharing agreements, trade preference deals, mutual defense partnerships, recognition of human alliance legitimacy, reduction of council, territorial. The council would need to offer humans the kind of partnership that laughs, but it sounds more like rocks falling down a mountain 48 hours ago. We were debating whether humans deserve to join us as junior members. Now we need to beg them to accept us as equal partners. The irony is bitter and painful. The council spent 1,000 years building an empire based on their superiority. Now they need to humble themselves before the species they thought was too primitive to matter. But the most painful part is that they all know the truth. The humans built something better than what the council built. They did it faster, and they did it by treating everyone with respect instead of demanding submission. Question now is whether it is too late to change, whether the council can learn to be partners instead of masters, whether they can accept being equals instead of superiors. Emergency alarms are still sounding, but now they sound like a countdown. The countdown to the end of the council's empire and the beginning of something, new something, built by humans who knew that friendship is stronger than fear and that cooperation works better than control.